we find it very frequently on some of the websites, and we hear this terminology very frequently. What is CRM? CRM is basically customer relationship management. Okay, what does that mean? So this basically means a tool which helps you manage a relationship with your customer. I don't have a very good throat today, so please excuse me if my voice is not very clear. Till the time you are able to understand, it's fine. I'm sorry for that. So, customer relationship management basically is a tool that a company uses to manage relationship with its customer. Now, what is this tool doing actually? How is a tool helping me manage a relationship with my customer? It's basically a tool which helps you store or track all the information of your customer that you need to deal with the customer, right? So all information, when I mean, I actually mean all the information, like the phone number, email ID, address, what the customer is buying, when did he buy, how much did he pay, how much he is supposed to pay, what is the balance amount. If the customer has an issue or a complaint with the product that you have sold to the customer, did you resolve the complaint? How long did it take you to resolve the complaint? All this information. So everything related to your customer should be tracked, and you should have information about that. Why you should have information? Because if you have information, if you have clear information about the customer and your transactions with the customer, you will definitely end up having good relationship with your customer. Just imagine a situation: your customer comes to you, and there's a company selling some product, and the customer comes back and says that, hey, I bought this product last month. And the company says, no, we do not know anything. I mean, we do not have any idea. Did you really buy? So just imagine, what kind of an impression the company will have on the customer. The customer will definitely not buy anything next time from the same company, right? So the company or any business needs to have information about their customers, and they need to track it properly so that it can be fetched the moment they require it. The moment they need it, it should be retrievable. So they should be able to retrieve it very quickly. That's something which is there. Now, the point here is that how the company does it, how and where they track all this information. So we have understood that company needs to store all the customer related information, all the transactions, all the conversations, all the communications happening with the customer, plus all other information related to the customer needs to be stored somewhere. How it needs to be stored, that's completely up to the company, or completely up to that particular business. Like some businesses would do it on a notepad, some businesses will do it in a diary, some businesses will do it in an Excel spreadsheet. You can do it in Microsoft Access, or you can do it in a software. Okay, so nowadays there are a lot of softwares available to do this. Earlier, if you talk about some 20 years back, most of it was done on notebooks and all that, right? If you go back and talk about 10 years back, most of it was done on Excel spreadsheets. Nowadays, people prefer doing it on software because to manage all this information on software. So now there is specialist softwares designed for this purpose, for the CRM, which help you manage your customers information properly, and it helps you do the reporting also on that. It's not just about storing the information. The softwares are designed in such a way that they allow you to do some sort of reporting also there, right? So that is the thing. Now the point is, when we have these kind of softwares available in the market, uh, some of those softwares are very popular, and some of them are not that popular, and there are different reasons why a software is popular and why it is not popular. There are different reasons. One primary reason for the software being popular or user friendly, and for some software not being that user friendly, is where exactly the information is getting stored. So What you have to understand is, if you have a software which will help you store the information, you also need a hardware to store the information. I hope you understand that part, right? Software, you don't store anything in the software. We need some hardware where the information can be stored. Right? Software can have all the functionalities, all the user interfaces, all the front end, but in the back end, the storage happens in some sort of hardware. Okay, so since all these softwares have come up nowadays, and there's a lot which is being done. There are a lot of applications and softwares which help you store this customer information. One important question remains: which hardware is being used to store the data? Where exactly the data is getting stored? The front end user interface, everything is fine. Got that point? So, for example, think about any other application. You talk about Facebook. Now, Facebook has created a very beautiful user interface for you, where you can go, you can find your friends, you can actually interact with them, put your status update, all these things. Okay, that's one part. But one big question for Facebook is, where do they store all this data? Because user interface is just one small part, right? Actual management is happening there, where they have stored all the data. And so many people who are the Facebook users, their information is stored and all the related information is stored. So where exactly that is getting stored? The same question remains for a business also. When they want to do CRM or a customer relationship management, they want to track all this information. There are a lot of softwares available, but the big question that the business needs to ask, or they need to understand, is where do they want to store the data? Where that data needs to be stored, which needs to be uh, which needs to be processed, or which is to be used for the customer relationship purpose. Now, nowadays you have two options to do this data storage. You can either choose a database, I'll call it a local database server, or you can choose a cloud-based server. What is this local database server? Okay, so when I come to this point, when I say that where should I store data, um, the answer to this can be anything. You can say I will store it in my CD-ROM, I will store it in a hard disk, in my external hard disk, I will store it in my laptop hard disk. So any of these, or you want to store it, store the customer's information in the pen drive. So you can store it wherever you want. But the point is that because this is your customer's information and multiple people will need access to this. If a company has a few clients, and if the client information is there, that client information needs to be shared within multiple people in the company, right? So putting it in my personal laptop will not help, because others will not be able to access, right? So in that case, it makes sense to put it in a server, database server. What is a database server? Database server, for people who are new to the technology and all, database server is more like a common hard disk. So let's not get into the details of that. Let's just assume it as a common hard disk, big common hard disk, which can be connected to multiple computers, right? So the advantage that you will have if you put it in the database server, the advantage is that everyone will have the access to it, right? So the common hard disk. Now the point is that if you put it in the database server, uh, where should that database server be located? One thing is for sure: if I have my customers' data, multiple people in the company need to have access to that data. I have to put it in a database server. I cannot put it in my hard disk or something like that. So that information has to be on the database server. Now you have two options nowadays. You can have a local database server set up within your company. Local database server is, you set up your own database server and you hire a network engineer. He will do the connection of that database server with all the computers within your company. Okay, so this is one option which is available. So This is your company premise. There are multiple people sitting in the company. Let's say there's this guy sitting here, there's this guy here. Okay, so let's say these are the all people working in the company. Rather than putting the customer relationship management information on everyone's computer, what you decide is you decide to set up a database server, which is a big hard disk. Okay, you might have seen some server rooms in the companies. So you can put the data here, and this computer can be, this server can be connected to all the computers. So everyone will have access to this. Okay, so something like this, which is a good solution. But the problem is, and this was the solution till let's say 10, 12 years back, this was the best solution that the company used to have. But the problem with this solution is that this does not work properly for companies which have multiple offices. You set up a database server. This is, let's say, this is an office that you have in New York City. So all people in the New York City got connected. You thought of opening another office in London. There are people sitting here. Now what do you do? Because this database server is connected through LAN, local area network. So it can connect within the premise. It cannot connect from New York to London. That doesn't work here. All right. So this is a very good solution. This used to be a very good solution, in fact, but doesn't work if the company has multiple offices. All right. Or if one of the person, let's say this guy, is traveling to London, forget about multiple offices. Think about a company which has a single office. This company also, if there's one person in this company who is traveling, let's say he's traveling for a month or so to some other country or some other location, and in the meanwhile he wants to have access to this data because he wants to, close some business in this meanwhile, cannot use, because this database server is accessible only to someone who is within this premise. So that becomes a big restriction. You always have to be within the premise. And the other difficulty, definitely, companies having multiple offices. Nowadays, it has become very common. Earlier, it was a concept of MNC and all that stuff, multinational companies and big companies will have multiple offices. Now, I think you guys are pretty much aware of it. The smaller companies, very, very small companies, also have multiple offices. They're picking a project from a certain country, their development team is sitting somewhere else, the support team is sitting somewhere else. So, even a 5-member company can have 2, 3 offices, right? So people sitting at different locations and then they need collaboration. So this model does not seem to be working very well here. So what is the other alternative? So this is the local database server concept. The alternative is cloud-based server. Okay, what is this cloud-based server? How does this cloud-based server help? So before that, let me just get into another concept which is called cloud computing. I'm pretty sure you guys must have heard a lot about cloud computing as well. Not very sure if you have got a chance to understand what cloud computing is, but I'm sure you must have heard this terminology, cloud computing, a lot of times. So, what is cloud computing? This is a very, very simple concept. I mean, if I have to put it in straight, very simple and straight words, it would be like cloud computing is a concept. It's not a software, it's not a hardware, it's just a computing concept. Okay. Okay. What does this concept actually talk about? This concept talks about connecting huge number of computers. I'm talking about huge number of computers through a big network. Okay, so this is basically a computing concept which talks about connecting huge number of computers hmm, through a big network, very big network, ideally internet. Okay, so cloud computing is a computing concept where we talk about connecting a huge number of computers through internet. Okay, now you must be thinking, why do we need to do that? To leverage shared resources. This concept actually is useful in terms of leveraging the shared resources so that the shared resources can be leveraged. You send an email to me and I instantly get to see your email. Why? Because you and I, we both are on the Google Gmail server, which is a shared resource. I say I am sending an email to you. Is my email going from my desktop to your desktop? No. You're logged in into Gmail server. I'm also logged in into Gmail server. We are on the same server, and that's the reason why we can see or communicate on the same platform, and it's very quick, fast. All right. So advantage of the shared resource, because we are on the shared resource, it's easy for us to communicate, right? Because that's a shared resource, because that's accessible through internet, you can access it any point of time, right? Or from anywhere in the world. You don't have to be sitting in your office to access your Gmail. You can access it from anywhere. So that's basically the advantage of cloud computing. So this is just one small advantage, what I'm talking about, but there are a lot of other advantages. And one of those advantages is a cloud-based server that we are talking about. Okay. So I'll just come to that cloud-based server, but before that, let me talk a little more on the cloud computing concept. So this cloud computing concept is basically, as I said, connecting multiple computers together so that the shared resources can be utilized. Okay. Now, the shared resources can be software, hardware. So every resource can be shared basically. Platform. So when a software is shared through this cloud computing concept, we call it software as a service. Okay, when hardware is shared, we call it hardware or infrastructure as a service. Platform is shared, we call it platform as a service. Got it? So you hear about the software as a service. Basically, it's a software which is on cloud, which is not installed on your system. It's something which is on the cloud. You can access it. All right, you don't need to install it. When we are talking about hardware as a service, we are talking about, or infrastructure as a service, we are talking about a hardware which I have not purchased, I am not maintaining it, but I'm able to use it. And the same goes for a platform also. When we talk about a platform as a service, you don't need to build up the platform. You can just go and utilize a platform. Got it? So that's basically the cloud computing concept. So these are all the terminologies. We are not going to get into details of it. I just want you to understand the basics. What exactly, a software as a service, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, these things are. All right. So now what happens is, let's go back to the this data storage question that we were talking about. We were at this point, right? Now we understand cloud computing also. So now let's go back to this particular thing again. So one option you have is you just build a local database server. What is a local database server? You just set up a server, hire a person who is actually going to connect all the computers to that server. That's it. All your computers will get connected within your organization or within that office premise, and you will be able to access it within the office premise. Now you thought that it is not going to work for me because I have multiple offices. Just think about any company which has different offices in different locations. How does this company actually work? Cloud computing can be an option. Okay, cloud computing means connecting computers through internet. But if you have to connect computers through internet, that kind of a server, setting it up and maintaining is going to cost you a lot of money, right? You can do that, or any company or any business can do that. It's not a very difficult thing nowadays. But it is definitely something which is gonna cost you a lot. More than setting it up, maintenance of that. Just imagine you are actually setting up a server which is going to be available online. It's going to cost you a lot in terms of setup fee and the maintenance fee. So for that reason, every company, and especially on top of that, it's also going to consume a lot of time as well. So it's not something which will be done very easily, very quickly. It's also going to consume a lot of time. So most of the companies will not be comfortable setting up their own cloud-based server or or a server which can be accessible online, right? Then what is the other alternative? So same way, just think about, take a smaller or simpler example, Gmail or your email tools. There are so many of them. So you can also set up your own Gmail kind of a tool, right? You can also build your own Gmail kind of a software. But what is the use? I mean, you are actually going to spend a lot of time setting it up, and then you need people to maintain it. It's better, you take a service provider, someone like Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail, and create an account there. They already have the server, you can just go and use that, right? So that is the same concept available in CRM also. So in CRM also, there are certain service providers who have their big server. They say that, okay, if you don't want a local server, what you can do is you can come and utilize our cloud-based server. So Salesforce.com is one of them. Microsoft is another. Oracle also has the same kind of a solution available. They say that, okay, they have a big server. Now, try and understand this. Let's say Salesforce.com. So Salesforce has a big server because this is their core job. So they have set up a big server for your understanding. This server is basically connected through internet. So anyone can connect to the server through internet, provided they have the login ID and password. Now Salesforce gives you space on the server along with the software that they have. So they have the CRM software plus they allow you the space on the server. So that, sorry. So how does this help? This helps in a way that you don't have to set up your own server. You don't have to spend time, money, and effort into setting up your own server. Got it? So you will always have the access to the salesforce.com server which is accessible online. So it doesn't matter whether you are sitting in your office or you're sitting at your home, until unless till the time you have the password and the login ID, you can access it from anywhere. Correct? Now this is a cloud-based server concept. So the company has the option of setting up their own cloud-based server, but no one is going to do that. It's better to take a license from someone like salesforce.com to do this job. Right. So they will give you the server space, they will give you your software, you will have the login credentials. Your users can use the login credentials to log in and access the database server of Salesforce.com. So that's how simple it is. Right. Now the Salesforce.com kind of a solution makes life easy for you. Why? Because first of all, you don't need to spend a lot of time in setting up the server and all that stuff. You don't need a maintenance staff because Salesforce.com is going to take care of the maintenance also. So it's like just boarding a train or an aeroplane. You take a flight, you don't have to do anything. There is someone else who's doing the maintenance. You just paid, you just fly, and that's it. The job is, you're done. And then what happens to the engine and who actually comes and maintains the engine and all that stuff, you're not worried. Who's the pilot? Who's giving the salary to the pilot? You're not worried at all, right? So that's how it is. So this solution is more like pay and use kind of a thing. You just pay for the subscription and you just use it, right? Advantage you have are a lot of them. The first advantage, you don't have to spend a few months on setting up the server. Second advantage, it is accessible through internet. so you can access it from anywhere. Third is you don't have to worry about maintenance at any point of time. Fourth is you don't even have to worry about the loss of data or damage of the server. If you set up your own local server, think about this situation. If you set up your own local server, which is in your office premise, if there is some fire or something in your office, what happens? The server also gets damaged, right? In that case, where is the data backup? This can happen to any place, right? So in case there is any such kind of a disaster, what happens to your data? Data is also lost, right? But if Salesforce.com or a big company, so if your data is stored on server of some big company, right? How many times? Just think about it. How many times have you ever thought of losing your information on Gmail or Facebook? I don't know, or I don't think you might have thought of this. Some of us might even have not thought of it, that someday I might lose all data on Facebook. Do you take a backup of your Facebook status updates? Do you take a backup of your Gmail email conversations always? Most of the times you don't. Why? Because we are sure that they are the ones who are actually taking up the backups and they will make the data available to us. Even if there is a server crash, it's not that Facebook server can never crash or something like that. It may crash, but they will have a replica of that available. Not one, many of them. They will make our data available again, right? But if you are maintaining some data, for example, if you have some important files in your laptop, you definitely try to take a backup of that, put it in a pen drive or an external disk, because if your laptop hard disk crashes or something like that, you will lose the data. So same thing. When you set up your own local database server, then what happens? You also have to worry about the disasters. And if you are worrying about that, you again have to take care of the backup. So which is again additional cost and additional effort, time. If you're maintaining on something like Salesforce.com, you know that okay, fine. Disaster or anything, they are the ones who are gonna take care of it. Their server goes down, they are the ones who are gonna retrieve the data and give us back. Though some people or some companies take some backup of the information, but still it's more safe. Like so, these are two options: local database server and cloud-based server. Okay. Now, this cloud-based server has become very, very popular in terms of CRM. Cloud-based server has become very popular because of the simple reason. One, it's easy to use and quick to, get started with. Second is because the businesses are becoming more global nowadays. Right. So people have companies in different locations, they have clients in different locations, they do have support teams in different locations, right? There are very few companies which operate from one single place. So people, you know, uh, having clients in different locations and support teams, and the clients need to be served at different time zones and all that stuff. So for that reason, cloud-based server is a very good solution, or it's a very popular solution at this point of time. All right. So for a local database server, you have something like SAP CRM. There is something called Microsoft CRM. Um, there's another called Civil CRM. Okay, these are the CRMs which leverage the local database server. They work with the local database server. Okay, or your private database server. These tools will work with that. Now for cloud-based server, we have something like a Salesforce. We have MS Dynamics. We have Sugar CRM. We have CRM on demand, which is an Oracle product again. and thousands of them, Zoho and Sage and whatnot. So this part is more popular. So there are a lot of companies which are offering software on these lines, along with the storage, cloud-based storage option. Okay. Out of all these, Salesforce is the most popular one. Salesforce is world's #1 CRM, and it's a cloud-based CRM. So that's what your Salesforce is. So what do they give you? They give you the licenses or the software, and they give you the storage space. So if you are running a business, if I have to put it in very, very simple words, if you are running a business and if you feel that you need a CRM, Salesforce will give you the software which will help you store information about your customers. They will also give you the hardware storage space where the information of your customers gets stored. That's it, right? So that's what Salesforce is going to give you. So they give you software, they give you storage space. I will not say they will give you hardware, but you get the storage space on their hardware. So I will call it storage space. Okay, or the infrastructure, you can leverage their infrastructure, plus the platform. Okay, the Force.com platform. What is this Force.com platform? Platform is basically where you can build your own application. So one is that you've got an application and you use the application. That's one. Second is you build your own application as per your requirement. So this Force.com platform, sometimes you might have heard of this terminology, Force.com platform. So Salesforce, along with giving a software of their own, they also provide you with a platform where you can build your own application as per your requirement. Got it? So if you feel that you need some additional features, it's not only using what Salesforce has given. You also have the option of building your own application which can be utilized the way you want. Here. So this is what they offer you. The software, the storage space, and the Force.com platform where you can build your own applications. Alright. So that's what they allow us. Now, a quick thing. So if we go by this route, if you just think about a company, let's say you're running a business, you feel the need of a CRM. Okay, so how does it work? See, you're running a business, you feel that you need CRM. Okay, so first thing that you'll have to decide whether you need a software for your CRM or you are good with Excel spreadsheets and all that stuff. Because still you will see some businesses, they just maintain some Excel spreadsheets and they track all the information in those spreadsheets. If you need that, it's fine. Uh, if you need a software, it's okay. Otherwise, if you want to just maintain it with an Excel spreadsheet or on a notebook or something, it's absolutely fine. So in case you need a software, you also have to think about where exactly you want to store the data. Okay. Some companies might be reluctant to store data on a cloud-based server. They will say, no, I want it in my personal server. Okay. In that case, the options available to them are like SAP, Siebel, Microsoft CRM. These options are there. Okay. If the company decides that no, we want a cloud-based CRM, then all these options are available, like Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, Oracle CRM on demand, Sugar CRM. So many of them are available. Salesforce is the most popular out of them, and it has the maximum market share also. Most of the customers use Salesforce.com. So Salesforce is the most popular. In case you decide to go with Salesforce, the next question that you will have in mind is how much is it going to cost, right? So any company which decides to take up the CRM, how much is it going to cost and how many licenses and all that stuff. That's the next question that you'll have to understand. Okay. So when you decide To go with Salesforce, the next thing that you'll have to understand is which edition in Salesforce you need. Salesforce actually, see, for any product or any service, you have different, what do you call it? Different slabs of that particular product, which or different functionalities offered with different price, because everyone does not have the same requirement. One size doesn't fit all kind of situation, right? So everyone does not have the same requirement. A big company might have the requirement of customizing, developing. A very small company might just have the requirement of using the standard app. That's it. They don't need to develop, they don't need to customize, they don't need to integrate, they don't need to do any other activities on it, right? So based on the requirement, the company can pick the edition, right? And their edition start from $5 per month per user, and it goes up till $250 per user per month. Okay, so this pricing range itself goes to up till 50 times. All right, so which means the features are also different. So if you just go to the Salesforce.com website, okay. So if you go to this website and you go to products, and then if you go to pricing, yep. So here you have different editions listed. Salesforce IQ start at $25. As I said, there is another edition called Contact Manager, which is $5 per user per month. It's not listed on their website, but there is that edition also available. Then you have Professional, then you have Enterprise, then you have Unlimited. And the features are written here. Right now, you will not understand any of these features. Uh, but eventually, as we move forward in the course, you will understand the features and all these things, and you will understand what is the difference between these editions and all. But one thing that we understand, which is quite apparent, is the fact that definitely when you're paying more, you will definitely get more features, right? This development thing and customizations thing comes from enterprise edition. Just a small thing that I would want you to understand is all the development activities, writing programs to customize your application, they are available in enterprise and unlimited. They are not available in these editions. Okay, so any company which is using these editions will have what do you call it? They just have the option of using whatever Salesforce has given. So they will not be able to develop things on their own. Yeah. So that for us, because most of us are actually targeting on the development part, you will most of the times end up working on enterprise or an unlimited edition, right? Okay. So we will talk further on this. We will start discussing further on this live editions, and we will also create our own editions. I will help you guys create your own edition, and we will get into salesforce.com, and we will see how things are there.